In today's video, we unbox a $100 hoard of super cheap wargaming miniatures, vehicles, and terrain pieces, shipped all the way from Russia. Oh, you got him. All right.
I did.
Well, hi everybody, this is Lee from skirmishwargames.com. Welcome to the channel. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we got a package from Russia. I went and rolled the dice on an eBay store that was selling miniatures from a company called Tehnolog, which is sort of a Russian game company that sells plastic miniatures and plastic castles, and I think they do a game called RoboGear and a bunch of other stuff, but I don't know that much about them. There was a guy online on eBay calling himself the Tehnolog Club, and he was selling it, so I went and spent $112, including shipping, on the contents of this box. And we're going to break it open and take a look to see how I did. So, shall we open it up?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I've already pre-opened it to kind of check, make sure all the contents were there and everything's there. And it's kind of funny. It's just a nondescript cardboard box with just regular stamps on it. So I'm not sure this comes from the official Tehnolog company or not, or just some guy who's a reseller. It's funny, it's kind of packed with these Christmas advertisements from some Russian newspaper. So, get that out of there. So some of the items are in their original packaging, and some are just packaged in plain old plastic bags with instructions in them. So I don't know if that keeps the cost down or what, but you don't get the packaging on some of the stuff, which is fine, even though some of the artwork is kind of cool. So we're going to go ahead and look at the contents of our $112 Russian miniatures box from eBay and see what's in here. Okay, so here's the haul that we got for our $112, including shipping. And so we got some things that are not in their original packaging, just in plastic bags. Some things that are in their boxes, and then even a castle here. So that's quite a lot of stuff for $112. I mean, we know how much you get at a typical hobby store for that amount of money. Sometimes
Not much.
Sometimes not much. Let's take a look at what we got for our investment. And so far, I'm kind of encouraged. For $112, this doesn't look too bad. So I know right off the bat that some of these are going to be 54 millimeter, and I knew that going into it. So they're not going to scale well with some 28 millimeter and 32 millimeter stuff. But some of these models look like they're right in that 28 millimeter to 32 millimeter range. So some of these might be able to scale right with some of the models that we're using for other games. So we'll see. And some of them look suspiciously like some of our favorite Gothic space opera miniatures. Yeah, from a game that shall remain nameless. But when we show them up close, then people can make their own determination as to what they think they look like. So let's dig into this a little bit. Let's set the cardboard boxes aside for the moment. And here's our loose minis. Let's dig into set these over here. And before we get too deep into this, let me just kind of explain what I know about Tehnolog. So I did a little online research, and I wasn't able to find a whole lot other than it's a Russian company. There's some product names associated with them, some brand names like Castlecraft. There's a game called RoboGear, which I guess has an English version that was sold at one point through IMEX and Airfix. But I went on the IMEX website today, and there are some RoboGear walkers still on there, but I couldn't find any reference to the game itself. So anyway, so that doesn't really tell us much other than it's a Russian company. It makes plastic miniatures in a couple of different ranges. Apparently makes some games, makes some structures. And I did get this sheet in the box that came with all the rest of the stuff, and it is in English. And it does talk about assembly of the Castlecraft castle that we're going to look at here in a minute. So obviously, they do have some instructions and some information available in English, so that's helpful. So we'll look at that when we open up the box. But in the meantime, let's take a look at some of our plastic figures in the bags. So most of the packaging here, where there is packaging, is in Russian. So let me try to use the product description from eBay to identify these before we open them. So we have Necro Zombies and Space Pirates, and we've sort of determined that might be these guys here in the regular plastic bags. And these seem to be some of the 54 millimeter figures, so those are going to be a little bit larger in scale. Okay, these guys here are described as Polar Guardsmen, 54 millimeters. So that's these. These, I think, are... So those appear to be identical. These are light assault troopers, and they say they're 40 millimeter. So we'll do a scale comparison when we open them up and see how they compare to good old-fashioned Cadians. This is described as a steampunk cannon fantasy model artillery kit, 54 millimeter. And some of this stuff I got just because the parts look so interesting. So even if the actual model isn't usable, I'm sure it could be cannibalized for other stuff. I'm looking at my reference sheet, and I have one line item that says, all it says is, this item has been shipped. It doesn't really give me a description. So maybe that's these guys. I don't know. So these are indeterminate at this point. We're not exactly sure. But yeah, Lynn pointed out, we do have this box set off to the side. So that's the Space Pirates, maybe. Let's see.
First and Necro, if you look. So
I think I think that's a pretty good assumption, but I have a line item here for a box set that says Iron Convoy, Battle of Fantasy, Technolog, Russian Toy Soldiers, Hard Plastic. And it looks a lot like this. So. I do get the feeling from the quality of the box art that this company must be legit. And even though I don't really know much about them, seems like they have a pretty good product line. So if anyone out there knows how to read Russian, maybe you can help clarify what some of this stuff is if we made a mistake. So here's a couple of items that we didn't get with the Russian shipment. These were actually ordered off Amazon. This is the Aliens, Star Monsters, 5 Toy Soldiers set. This was $10.49 on Amazon. And then, oh yeah, so you can kind of see what those guys are. And these are 54 millimeter. But with aliens, who's to say they aren't giant aliens? They could be Ogryn sized, you know?
Or we've got other 54 millimeter to go with them.
We do have other 54 millimeter. And this here is Armored Infantry set of 6 Ruthenian Guard Fantasy Toy Soldiers plus gun. This actually comes with one of those super dangerous spring-loaded projectile guns for people to choke on. So I'm sure this wouldn't be legal in the U.S. It was when I was a kid, but... Okay, so shall we open some stuff up? Where do you want to start with? So this box here was the one that you gravitated toward at the very beginning and said this is what you wanted to paint, right?
Yep. We'll see once I take it out.
And just to give you a little scale of reference, here is a Commissar and a good old-fashioned Cadian. So these are kind of Ogryn-sized or bigger. But there's nothing to say these couldn't be giant aliens or some sort of armored opponent in a battle suit. And then you get parts. It's always nice to have parts.
Well, that's the gun. Or maybe it's just extra weapons.
Maybe it's just, yeah, it looks like there's an extra piece in here with wheels on it.
It's this thing.
Oh, what did we get? Yeah, there you go. So that's this thing here, whatever it is. So anyway, it does appear that this is some sort of spring-loaded projectile launcher. Sand spring. Maybe we can steal one out of a pen or something.
Yeah.
And just for grins, here is the other thing we got off Amazon. This is the Lotharians. Is that what it is? The Armored Infantry set of 6 Ruthenian Guard Fantasy Toy Soldiers plus gun.
Okay.
All right. Kind of glossy, those guys.
Yeah. Quick and easy to put together a little gun.
Let's shoot it at me and see if I choke on it.
Okay. Let me get a projectile out.
They said in the description these are 40 millimeter. Detail, probably not the greatest. Seems like there's some way to get that to work. But maybe it's better if we don't. Okay, there's our Ruthenians. Oh, and look how many bullets they give you.
Lots.
So they give you lots of bullets.
So that way when you lose them,
or they end up in Dad's eye, then okay. Whoa, Jesus.
that shoots pretty far.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. It went way across the room.
Yeah, it's definitely gone. Wow, that went whizzing by my head.
That was fun. Let's do that again.
All right. Well, here you can try to shoot at.
Shoot at him.
Yeah. Oh, you got him. All right.
I did. That's pretty cool.
All right, right on.
I like that.
Okay, so
that one works.
Another example of things we can't get in America anymore. But open up the box.
I want to shoot some more.
So this is our set. So this is actual game, I guess.
Yeah, it's got dice. It's got a funky little die with it. And it's got cards.
Yeah, how's your Russian?
Yeah, real good.
Okay.
We'll have to get someone who knows Russian to translate for us so we can make our cards to
So
go
what
with
did I spend in my Russian game? $9.75, I think, is what we spent on this. So let's see.
Hey, look, it's got more bullets. I can make another gun to shoot
You
with.
can make another gun.
It's got those same
So these
bullets.
guys are enormous. So this comes with some sort of a structure. Looks like. Oh! These guys fight these guys. These guys fight the aliens, apparently.
Oh, very
That we've
good.
already got. Which is good, because they're about the same size. This is kind of interesting. So this is
The building?
a building? How much of a structure do they give you? What's it say on the box? Seems like on the box here, seems like that's got a couple of sides to it. Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just two sides. So I'm not quite sure what to do with these. The scale is completely different than everything else we've got. But I guess you could make a giant robot, or you can always make them into a statue, I guess.
We've got 3 different armies.
Got 3 different armies.
So
Yeah, as long as they're all on the same scale. So I like this. I'm pretty happy with that. I definitely can see some potential there. These other guys, I don't know, that might be like he might become a statue to the lowly guardsman. To the courage of the lowly guardsman. And then this is part of the gun, huh?
I guess
Some sort of a missile launcher. All right, that's good.
you put them back in the box.
Yeah, let's put some of those back in the box. While you're doing that, these are just some loose figures that came in little Ziploc bags. They didn't get packages or anything.
They've got interesting bases, though.
I think I see something that looks suspiciously like a chainsword. Yeah, the bases are weird. Okay, so we got 2 sets of these. There was some hope that these guys would be more or less in scale with some of the other things that we have, but they're not. So even though these aren't 54 millimeter, they're probably closer to 40. Okay, there's got a beret, as does this guy. You see the? Can you see the emblem on that guy's shield? Yeah, apparently he belongs to some organization. IP-wise, I'm not sure if someone's property isn't being infringed upon slightly, but maybe that's why the scale is different. Let's open up this Renaissance punk gun here.
Yay, a spring!
There's another spring. There's the instructions for the cannon. So what did we spend on that cannon? This cannon was only $2.50, and because I bought a bunch of stuff, they combined all the shipping. Probably looked at that and said, for $2.50 plus a little for shipping, are there some parts there that could be cannibalized and used for something else? And
It's kind of a cool looking gun, though.
it's kind of a cool looking gun, though, so we'll have to kind of build that and see how that turns out. Okay, so that's our $2.50 cannon. I'm digging that. All right, what else we got? Are these the Necro Zombies? Like maybe they were human at one point or humanoid and then became biomechanical beings. And cyborgs, endoskeleton, Russian toy soldiers new. All right, those are huge. Those are similar to something we've seen already. We got those in that box set.
Right.
So we have a ton of these. It's one of these giant Russian.
So now we have like 10 of these.
We have 10 of these guys.
12 of these.
Maybe we can make a chess set or something. I think these were $3.15. You know, the scale is an issue. The lack of detail is kind of an issue. I mean, these are like basically kids' toys. For $3, I don't know. Could you do something with them?
Oh, yeah.
Use your imagination, right? All right, what else we got? These might be some like polar guardsmen. I think that's exactly what they call them.
Yeah, I think they call them polar guardsmen.
These are 54 millimeter, so again, not going to really line up with anything else.
Hey, well, we've got a bunch of 54 millimeter stuff now.
We do have a lot of 54 millimeter stuff. And these cost the kingly sum of $2.70 for a bag of polar guardsmen. Yeah, the detail on these guys is pretty rough. Did these come with a base or anything? Like they didn't come with any
No.
bases. They don't have a peg on the bottom of their foot either.
So they would definitely have to be glued.
They'd have to
onto
be
something.
glued. So yeah,
Because they
giant,
don't stand on their own very well.
giant sci-fi Russians, basically. But there you go, $2.70. There's your sci-fi polar guardsman. And yeah, I wish they were a little smaller. I might have something. All right, let's see what else we got. Now these guys here, what did we decide these guys were? The light assault troopers. Actually, these are a little bit more encouraging because they're not so so huge. So let's go ahead and crack those open. So 2 bags of those set us back $11.70.
The blue ones have some interesting guys.
Yeah. Here's another guy with a beret. Yeah, this guy here looks like he's got some kind of a communication device strapped to his back. Maybe for transmitting orders.
This one's really into... He's got lots of bullets.
Yeah, compared to the normal guardsman, you can see this guy's been eating his Wheaties, but he's not that much larger, I guess.
So there's the radio guy for the green guys.
This guy's got some kind of a heavy weapon. There's a sniper of some type. So they have the same soldiers on each team, but there's a lot of variants. Looks like there's quite a few variants, actually. Yeah, you could do something with those. I don't know what it is. It's like if you paid $25 for a pack of those, would you be more motivated to paint them than if you just paid $4?
I would be more worried about how I painted them.
Well, that's true. These,
I mean,
yeah.
if you screw them up, it's not that big a deal. If you screw up a $50 mini,
Right.
That's a whole different story.
Right. So here's one of the purple guys. So let's take a look at the vehicles. These vehicles were only like $4 or $5 a piece.
Oh, he looks like a walker.
Yeah, these are all kind of walkers. I think there's a flyer in there. I think there's a tank in there. Yeah, this is the Robogear Thunder Assault Aircraft. No label on that one. Oh, this is the Hurricane.
You can either make it as a tornado or as a hurricane.
Yeah, this is a tracked vehicle with a couple of big guns on the top of it. And then what's that one
this
there?
one's another track vehicle, the Demolisher.
The Demolisher.
I like the Locust.
All right, well, let's open up the Locust. Take a look at the parts.
There's a spring in there. I'm going to leave it in the bag.
There's another spring.
There's 2 in there.
2 springs. He's got 2 guns. So the Locust seems to have like bug eyes on him. And lots of guns. Yeah, I think all these vehicles were $5.40, plus a little bit for shipping because we had the combined shipping. So you can see there's some pretty interesting parts. It's not a very complex kit.
Yes.
You can kind of see that's sort of what he looks like.
That's
right.
what he looks like.
Yeah, okay. Here's the Locust. And this must be the game card that comes with the Robogear game.
Who do you want next?
Thunder. Let's do the Thunder Flyer.
That was a picture. Watch out for the bitty parts.
Watch out for the springs. They do like their springs. They do like their projectiles. So there is our flyer. Our $5.40 flyer.
Want the Demolisher next?
Yeah, whatever's on the stack.
Let me grab these.
Parts.
Ah, don't lose the spring. Okay, the Demolisher.
And that is
Ooh, springs in there too.
springs.
There's lots of springs. I'm gonna put the spring back in this guy. Oh no, he's got a spring in him.
All right. Let's see. I see a pilot. I see some machine guns. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Parts. Machine guns, Gatling guns, missiles.
And a shovel.
This is a harpoon. That's a harpoon gun. I'm going to be really tempted to steal that for some kind of Gaslands thing.
More springs. They do like
Okay.
their springs.
And again, so what is this? Well, we have the Thunder, which was the flyer, the Locust, which had the bug eyes, the Demolisher, which is some kind of a track vehicle,
be the Hurricane.
And the Hurricane. And
I like the cage.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That would make a nice top for
Does it show a picture of what it's supposed to look like? Not really.
No, just how it goes together.
Basically all guns. Tracks and big giant guns. The guns are bigger than the passenger compartment. That looks like a buzzsaw. And that looks like a big crab claw. Okay, at this point we thought we'd take a brief intermission while we actually assemble a couple of these vehicles. They are snap-on vehicles. They come right out of the sprues pretty easily with a minimal amount of sanding. I'm working on the Hurricane here. That's the blue tracked vehicle with all the guns on it. And then Lynn is working on the Locust, which is the big purple walker, also with a lot of guns on it. So there is the more or less completed Locust, and then there is the Hurricane. And now we'll show you how these size up against some other vehicles you might be familiar with. Okay, so I built the Hurricane. I made him sort of an anti-aircraft variant with a couple of close combat weapons. He is not glued together. He's not even sanded, but snapped together in about 20 minutes. And, the next one we do will go a lot faster. But and then you made the Locust, which is kind of this walker here.
And I like these because they're more posable than other figures that you glue together. With these snappy ones, because you can pose them. You can change the direction of the guns.
You can easily swap out the weapon, and you can change the angle. Here's the Locust. Here's the Imperial Guard Sentinel. So he's quite a bit larger than the Sentinel. So it says it's 148, but I think there's some latitude there in the actual scale. So yeah, scale in wargaming is a funny thing, and guess you'd have to decide for yourself if that works for you. Certainly those parts could be used. I like the big Gatling guns and the saber saw and the claw. Whether they'd work in a game with some models from other companies, I don't know. You'd have to decide for yourself. But the price is right. $5. Snaps together in about 15 minutes. And you can make different variations. Plus, if you're got a hankering to put your own eyes out, you can just load both of those up and
because they come with the springs.
hand them to a child and then see what happens. Yeah, don't let the orcs get a hold of these. It'd make some sort of monstrosity. Not the claw. Okay. Well,
Then we just got the castle.
now we just got the castle. That's right.
Castle.
So apparently I splurged on the castle. This was $23. Castle craft.
Looks like you get 16 minis with it, perhaps.
All right. Well, let's see what we get for our big ticket item here.
Lots of pieces of cards.
Lots of stuff. Huh? Okay, so here's our Russian instructions for the castle. So it's fortunate that they gave us the English instructions to go with it.
Otherwise, we'd just have to go by pictures.
Probably could have figured it out. But there's, ooh, that looks pretty intense. So these guys appear to be,
Archers.
well, they appear to be smaller,
Yeah.
is what they appear to be.
They're closer to your right scale.
Yeah, they are. So let's see, towers. There's a lot of bits to this castle.
Yep.
I wonder if these guys might even be a little bit on the small side.
I guess we'll have to see. Put them up against
There's a
the
die.
Their dice are fun.
Some instructions on how to paint your castle. In Russian, but I think we can figure it out. Yeah, just like the other one, you get a green set and a blue set. And while the individual pieces, there's some variety there, the two teams are identical in the type of pieces they get. Back in the day, protein was hard to come by, so they didn't get quite as much nutrition as the standard Imperial Guardsman or the Commissar. So these guys are small, and these guys are a little bit large. It's almost as if they are going out of their way not to dial in the same scale as some other companies. But That's fine. You can use them for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Make up your own board game. Yeah, see these guys here, these blue guys, they summoned a big techno golem, and so they're going to be throwing him against the green guys. Okay, folks, well, we rolled the dice. We sent some money to the former Soviet Union, and this is what we got. And I'd say it's a mixed bag. There's some stuff in here, particularly the vehicles, I think are really cool, and I'm definitely going to be able to use it for something. And some of these other ones, I'm not sure. There's obviously some miniatures there that could be painted with wild abandon, and it wouldn't really matter how they turned out. And some of the large ones could be made into statuary or something, but, and some of the aliens, maybe they're just large aliens.
Or we could go and have a 54mm attack.
Or we could have a 54mm battle, exactly. For $100, not too bad. I think I got my money's worth, and we'll just have to be a little bit creative about what we do with some of the stuff. But anyway, there you go. So if you've ever heard the name Technolog or Castlecraft, that's essentially what they're all about, and maybe there's some ideas in there that might appeal to you. Well, folks, thanks very much for watching, as always. If you like what we do here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please give this video a big thumbs up, and visit us online at our website, skirmishwargames.com.